Hi, everyone. My name is Benjamin Ross, and the marketing campaign that I have chosen is the desire to grow interest in the graphic novel format for young adult patrons who haven't yet been introduced to it, specifically at the public library at which I work, the Bryant Library in Roslyn. So, my overall goal is to generate increased interest in the graphic novel format among young adults and teens, and therefore increase its circulation and subsequently the collection at the Bryant Library. The Bryant Library currently has somewhere around 200 to 250 titles in the young adult collection, and comparable libraries in the area, in Merrick, Belmore, and Port Washington, have about 700 or so titles. So we are significantly lacking in both the collection and circulation of those titles. Why have I chosen graphic novels? Because they increase reading comprehension among teens, they improve overall vocabulary, they bridge reading gaps from more juvenile titles to more advanced works, and overall, as time has gone by, less and less readers in high school are reading books for pleasure. From 2022, 13% of all 12th graders read six or more books for pleasure, compared to the mid 70s when about 40% of 12th graders were reading books for pleasure. The data shows a 51% increase in public libraries over the last few years, a 61 increase in interest in school libraries, and one-fourth of all graphic novel readers in public libraries read exclusively in this format. So more and more teens are enjoying the format, and our library is significantly behind. For our persona development, my target audience is young adult patrons ages 12 to 18 who haven't yet read a graphic novel or expressed interest in reading one. And the persona that I've chosen is perhaps a boy, who'll go by the name of Chad, who is a non-reader. He doesn't enjoy reading. His parents really want him to read, but he has no interest. He doesn't have the attention span for it. And he'd like to bridge the gap between picture books and novels, more advanced works of literature. Graphic novels are the perfect format for him because they sort of have the visual element of books that are for younger students, while also introducing more literary aspects, drama, mystery, um, more sophisticated elements that one might find in more advanced works. My campaign strategy would start at the beginning of January of 2026. It would begin with Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok videos launching 3 weeks prior to the date of the campaign. There would be a complete redesign of the library homepage. There would be a display within the library as soon as one walks in, displaying all of the apps and databases relevant to the campaign. And the local schools, high schools and middle schools, would have large displays, billboards. There would be a coordinated effort within the schools to push students towards the school library and therefore outward towards the public library, where they would be introduced to more titles in the format. They would be communicating with their school librarian, and they would be pushed to explore titles that they otherwise hadn't previously. The goals overall are to increase the circulation of these titles by patrons ages 12 and 18 by 15% within 3 months. Right now, we are at, I believe, one out of every eight young adults has checked out a graphic novel at the Bryant Library at our most recent survey. We would like to have 20 to 25 patrons ages 12 to 18 sign up for our Comic Con. As a result of newfound interest in the format, we'll have a cumulative Comic Con at the end of this entire campaign, where there will be artists featured and writers, people who live locally who can promote the format and host programs and activities that engage these students in ways that they previously had not been engaged. There would be a coming soon press release that would launch on December 8th. Advertisements would feature in the local high schools starting on the 22nd, and then a full campaign would launch on January 5th, in which there would be promotions on the websites throughout the library that would encourage students to check out graphic novels that would push them towards the department. There would be an increase in titles available, new and classic titles on display for them to see and engage with. The marketing analytics that I would use would be Google Analytics, social media analytics, and Google Forms. Surveys that would be used before and after the start of the campaign to determine efficacy, to determine how students how they've checked out titles previously versus how they're checking out titles following the campaign. Have they increased checking out titles overall? User engagement metrics. How many titles have they read following the campaign in contrast to previously? Surveys and feedback forms, and circulation and membership data. And the story that I like to tell, the example that I want to use, is the idea of someone, a student who goes to the local Roslyn High School, who has never read a graphic novel, they don't really like reading, and they're walking through the halls and they see a billboard and a flyer promoting the Bryant Library graphic novel campaign. It says to go to the school library for more information. They go to the school library, they speak with the school librarian. The school librarian introduces them to titles in the local collection there and then says, if you'd like to follow up, you can go to the local library and they have activities and more titles that you can engage with should you want to pursue the format. And that's the general goal of the campaign, is to get people from the schools into the library where they can access more formats, more titles in the format, and develop a newfound interest that they did not have previously.